Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first edition of Black Fiction Addiction. I'm your host, Chandra Sparks Splond, and I am so excited to be here with you today. This YouTube channel has been years in the making. I actually had the idea back in 2015 and set on it mainly out of fear, because being in front of the camera is not something, is definitely not my natural default. But for whatever reason, this idea would not let go of me. So I've decided to move forward and share some of my favorite books and hopefully interview some amazing authors along the way. So since this is my first episode, to get started, I'm going to do the Newbie BookTube tag questions, just so you find out a little about me and my hopes for the show. So without further ado, here we go. Question number 1. Why did you start this channel? Now, I watch a lot of BookTube. I watch a lot of YouTube in general. And to be honest, I've seen book reviews and people talking about black books, but I haven't seen a channel that's really specifically devoted to black fiction the way that I want to talk about it. I absolutely love black fiction. I have loved it for years. My background is actually in editing black fiction, so you'll see in the background I have some of the books that I've edited through the years, as well as a shout out to myself, because I actually write black fiction as well. So I read it all the time, listen to a lot of it, and I'm excited to share my insights and my thoughts, and maybe introduce you to some books you haven't heard about, maybe some authors you haven't heard about, or books that you've forgotten about that you might want to reread again. So I'm hoping to bring all of that to the table with my channel. Question number 2. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? Well, as I said, I read a lot of books, mainly black books, and I know a lot of black authors. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to do interviews with a lot of them so that you can get an up close and personal look at the person behind the stories. And again, hopefully to share insight you may not see about the books. Number 3, what are you most excited for about this new channel? I'm excited, as I said, to give my insight and to see where it goes. I think it's a market that needs to be reflected on BookTube, especially from a more mature woman's perspective. So I'm hoping, I'm excited to see where this leads. Why do you love reading? I think that's question number 4 for BookTube. Why do you love reading? I think the question for me is, what's not to love about reading? You get caught up in all these different worlds. You get to learn about different perspectives, different thoughts. You get insight into different things. And it's a way to get lost. So I'm just, books excite me. I'm excited. I get excited about reading. I get excited about writing. And I just love sharing books with people. So what book or series got you into reading? I honestly don't know, because I've been reading for as long as I can remember. I don't know if there was necessarily a book or a series. I can share that the book that actually kind of launched my writing career, or my desire to be a writer, the author was J. California Cooper. In addition to being a fan of books, I'm also a fan of public libraries. And I just remember going into the library one day as a kid, and as I'm looking through the shelves trying to figure out what books to read, I came across the spine of a book. Cause of course I had the title and the author, and as I'm looking at it, I noticed the name J. California Cooper, and I just thought it was a cool name, so I decided to pull the book out. And apparently her author picture was on the back, because when I looked at it I realized that she was a black author, and it just blew my mind. I'm like, you mean to tell me like black people write books? Like I guess on some level I knew, but that kind of solidified it for me. So when I saw that, I'm like, well, if she can write a book, I want to write books too. And I held that dream in my heart for years, until I finally wrote my first book in 2004 after I had my daughter. I didn't actually publish my first book until 2006. So it's been quite the journey for me. In addition to that, I mean, I've been working in book publishing for years, probably since the early 2000s. You know, when I guess black fiction was real high. I mean, you know, there were imprints everywhere. I used to be the consulting editor for BET Books Arabesque. So we had that. We had Genesis Press doing romance novels. We had Stryver's Row. I mean, there were just so many black imprints and so many black books available. And now, although a lot of those imprints don't exist anymore, there's so many black authors who are self-publishing, who might not necessarily have their books in the spotlight the way a lot of the authors with the traditional publishers are doing. So I'm just excited to share those books with you, because those authors deserve spotlights too. I think for a lot of people, you know, back in the day, self-publishing had this stigma to it, but that's no longer the case. There are a lot of amazing authors and a lot of amazing books, and we're gonna have fun talking about them. So, next question. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? For me, I think the question will be how to keep it going. That's what I think I'm most nervous about it. In addition to writing books and editing books, I'm also a blogger. So I've been blogging for 4 years now. And as I said, I know a lot of authors, so I interview a lot of authors. And I think the same nervousness I had with starting my blog is what I'm experiencing now. Like, I can't wrap my mind around, although I have all these ideas for episodes to do and for people to interview, I can't wrap my mind around how it's going to happen. So I think for me, like, how do you keep the momentum going? That's real big. And how do you draw people to your channel? I think for me, like, I'm on social media, but it's not really my thing. So I know I don't promote myself the way I should. I probably don't promote other authors the way I should. And that's something that I'm really interested in doing, to just, you know, put it out there so people know about all this amazing work that exists. Next question. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Again, just probably keeping up the momentum. My plan now is to do one video a week, and we'll see, you know, whether that expands or whatever the case may be. But I think I can definitely commit to doing one a week and getting it recorded and getting the editing done. Next question. When did you start reading? I've been reading for as long as I can remember. You know, it's just something that's always been a part of my life. I think my brothers and the rest of my family tell stories now. Like, while everybody else was out playing, I was somewhere reading. I mean, that was just my thing. I wasn't trying to be outside in the sun when I can be holed up in the air conditioner with a good book. So it's just always been a part of my life, and honestly, it probably always will. I mean, I don't see that changing anytime soon. I loved it so much that I wanted to make it into a career, and God has blessed me for that to happen. So yeah. Okay, where do you read? The question, the more accurate question would probably be, where don't I read? Because I read any and everywhere. You are not going to catch me without a book. I don't care whether it's an audio book, whether it's Kindle. My phone is always loaded down with books, because if I have a spare moment, I'm reading something. I don't care whether it's a book, whether it's art. There's always some reading going on with me. So wherever I can get it in is where I'm gonna fit it in. And then finally, the last question is what kind of books do you like to read? For me, I'm a huge fan of romance, which is probably evident since, as I mentioned, I used to be a romance book editor. And in addition to that, I also love Christian fiction. I'm also a fan of YA, young adult, which is mainly the genre that I write in. So I think that's probably where I am right now. I think over the years, my interests have probably changed, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's so many good books. There's nothing that's gonna, you know, you don't have to be married to one genre. So Well, thanks so much for tuning in to this episode, everyone. I hope you'll come back so that we can, talk about more good books together. If you like this episode or if you're looking forward to it, I hope you'll hit the subscribe button and that you'll let other people know about Black fiction addiction. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, happy reading.